Hey, entrepreneurs, are you trying to make bigger profits in your small business? Like many of us, I'm sure you're feeling it. Business is hard, and now more than ever, you need to have a plan to help your business not just survive, but thrive. And it can happen as simply with thinking with the end in mind. I'm Marcia. I'm a business growth strategist. I've helped tons of small business owners to establish and implement a tangible plan that guarantees increased profitability, guides your growth, and plans for a future exit. Because a business worth selling is also a business worth owning. And I want to share strategies that I've earned and learned with you on today's Profit with a Plan podcast. But before we get started, I have something to share with you. I've put together an insightful and think outside the box masterclass. This 15-minute training has been specifically designed to help you learn how to grow your business 2 times, 3 times, or even 10 times the revenue and the value of your company. And it'll put you in a great position to sell it someday on your terms. So go register for free at 10xyourfirm.com. All right, friends, I am super excited to have my guest on today, Dr. Theresa Ashby. And she asked a great question. What if you could touch and transform more clients' lives while having more time, freedom, and work smarter, not harder? Theresa says it's possible. And she knows the action, math, and science behind the systematically creating results that are reliable, repeatable, and worth celebrating. Consultants, coaches, authors, and speakers who want to create e-learning courses, digital academies, membership sites, and online communities have been turning to Dr. Theresa to take their big idea into stunning bottom line results and beyond. She is the COO of Kaleidoscope Media Services. She consults with companies and individuals on how to enter the billion-dollar e-learning and digital product market. She helps clients use digital products for business sustainability, scalability, and successability. Love that word. She is savvy, provocative, and a genuine individual who is widely respected for her business acumen. She has spent nearly 2 decades studying what it takes to scale your business and has been identified by Forbes as the business scaling expert. Dr. T is the host of Heart, Hustle, and Humor podcast, fellow podcast host, right? And which is a show for dedicated, hardworking, fun entrepreneurs and business owners who want to build their business bigger and add their wildest dreams. It's the place where you can get inspired and motivated by her guests. So I was totally honored and pleased to be a guest on your show. It was so much fun to just chat and talk about business and how we have it with humor. But I have to say, Dr. T, we have been circling each other for a while now, and I'm so glad that you were able to find time in your busy schedule to join us on the show. So welcome to Profit with a Plan.
Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here today and can't wait to share with your audience some new ideas.
Love it. That's what we're all about. We're all about driving growth, increasing profitability, and making that potential exit plan. Yeah. But all of those have like 300 different moving parts. And one of those, it's really important to have is that digital product because, right, all the consumers out there are consuming these digital products. And if you don't have one, I think you're going to be left behind, right?
Absolutely. And, in today's day and age, everybody wants to learn basically from their phone. And so having a digital product makes it available wherever you are in the world to learn.
Love it. Love it. All right. So I gave it a pretty good introduction. But how in the world do you get into digital products? Where did that come from?
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things that one day I'm busy doing some consulting for clients and and I'm like, something's going to change in our environment. And lo and behold, somebody called me and said, hey, I have this idea. And so it happened to be Laura Neubauer, who is now my business partner. And what we did is we sat down and said, things are changing in our world. And this is a few years ago, what happened in our world, right? And looking back, and we said, where are people investing money? Who's going out and saying, being future forward And a lot of people were investing money in these platforms for learning management systems. And we said, okay, in addition to authors, speakers, consultants wanting to help get their word out, transform more people. And so we said, let's follow the money. Let's provide a service that people need and combine it and create our business, Kaleidoscope Media Services, because every business that's a service business needs some type of product to sell in their sales funnel.
Love it. So I don't know the number, but I'm sure you do. How much are people really, truly spending in that digital e-learning market?
Well, you'll see all kinds of numbers, but I will tell you it's in the billions and it's growing exponentially.
Yikes.
Billions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are we too late then? If we're just releasing our products, are we too late or is there still time for us?
I get that question a lot. The answer is no. In fact, this is the perfect time to start looking at what kind of product you can use to scale your business. Because people often think, oh, an e-learning class, that's one of those things that I put up and I go and I make some money and, people buy it for $100 or $200. No, I'm talking about creating a product that can be so much more in the sense of they get to know, like, and trust you. It's value driven, but it's always the possibility of selling them into your VIP packages. And that's really, we are not in the business of growing an e-learning business. We're in the business of helping our clients grow their business through adding e-learning products. And that is the shift. And that's why it's not too late for people, because it's the perfect way to help scale.
Love it. Okay. So you talked about kind of two ranges there. Are we talking about creating a product? Everybody should have a product in the $100 or $200 range, this kind of entry level thing? Or are we talking about having, a $15,000 course?
Yeah. So I'm talking, you can have, depending on your package. So if you have a $10,000, your VIP package is $10,000, you might want to build a course that's $200, $300, $400. Because then you can go into the next level, right? You don't want your price so low. I'm not talking about a $50 course here. I'm talking about something that's substantial that you can charge several $100s. And then as they get to know you, then they go, oh, wait, I want to keep working with you because now I get it. Now I understand your framework. Yes, that's the transformation I need. So then they buy your $2,500 or your $5,000 package or your $10,000 package. So making sure that you have those 3 solid packages so that they know where they can continue to work with you.
I love that because, there's a lot of conversation out there about selling high ticket and don't waste your time with this low stuff. But if you're talking to warm traffic, these are people that already know you, have heard your story a couple of times, understand what you're talking about, and as you said, the framework, then they're going to be okay spending a lot of money coming on to you. But if you're talking to cold traffic, like nobody's heard of you or they've gotten an email or, watched a couple of videos, that's hard to jump from cold to, $10,000, right?
It's very difficult. I mean, that it is extremely hard. And that's why when you're looking at your pricing, it's not about generating as much revenue off selling your courses. Where you have to look at your whole return on your investment is how many people then buy those bigger packages from you. So very back in the beginning, you have to be very clear as to the why and the what and the who of your product, right? Of that learning, that e-learning course. And so it's perfect. Imagine a sales call. You're talking to somebody and they're talking, they're like, man, I so want to work with you, but I just can't afford that big package right now. You're like, you know what? That's okay. I have a package that you can buy for $500. It's an e-learning course. It's value driven. You're going to have downloads. You're going to see me telling stories so you can learn from it. And the person's like, oh, well, I can afford that. So you're not really ever having to say no to anybody anymore because now they can buy that because you know that sometimes the no really isn't about the dollar amount. The no is they don't want to tell you that I don't trust you. I don't really think you've got anything for me, but I'm willing to invest a couple $100 to just see if we're good. And if they never buy anything more from you, that's okay. But then the potential of them buying something more from you is greater.
Love it. And it's a warm up, right? You get them comfortable spending their money with you, and it's a warm up for it. So fantastic idea. I'm a full believer in warming clients up before you drop the Mac Daddy on them and ask for their, for their firstborn. But I think the question would be, and I know a lot of listeners are probably thinking, well, what do I offer? I offer one thing. So let's throw an example there. So I'm a CPA, and I work with people on their accounting. How in the world could I add a course to that?
Yeah. So that is, yes. Again, remember I said it's about return on investment. That doesn't necessarily mean dollar for dollar. What that means is if you're a CPA, if you're an attorney, every client that comes into your office, there's an onboarding process. You have to teach them the technical piece of how to work with you, what paperwork to fill out. And particularly attorneys are billing by every 15 minutes, right? So cha-ching, right? And imagine, and then you go into your CPA and, they're charging you and it's all this stuff. But imagine if you're in that kind of industry and you create some type of digital training or digital e-course, whatever you want to call it. And you give that to them and they spend a half hour learning all about you and the paperwork is all filled out. When they show up to you, they're ready and they're prepared. You've saved a half hour. They feel more comfortable because now they know the questions they need to ask you when they get in there. So it creates a much more efficient process.
Ooh, I love it. So it doesn't have to be crazy learning like, oh, here, I'm going to teach you how to read a financial statement or how to organize your bank accounts or whatever it is. So when you come to me, it's going to be easier for us to work together. But I love the idea of doing the onboarding and making sure they have all the questions that they ever wanted to ask an attorney who's helping them with their estate plan, right? Who knows about that stuff? There's tons of questions, and you can put that in the form of a workshop or a class or workbook kind of video thing. It doesn't have to be the traditional, you're going to XYZ and here's the achievable goal.
Right. And that is, I think, what we love in our business, because people come to us with an issue. I need to save time. I need to be more efficient. I need to generate revenue. Okay, let's open it up. What can we do? What can we digitize? What can we automate? So imagine that everything is automated and you're doing videos to help them with some type of issue, but it's all automated. I don't know about you, but particularly when I first started out, I was a little nervous going into the lawyer because I was like, I don't really know what to ask. or
right.
The CPA,
and the clock and the dollar spinning.
Or somebody in your business. A lot of times people don't know exactly, they know they need you, but they're not exactly sure the questions. So you've given them enough information. So they walk in with a nice organized list. So they feel so much more valued and getting valuable information when they are talking to you one-on-one. And that's what we want. We want our clients to feel like I got what I needed. 9 times out of 10, they don't know what they need.
A lot of times, yes, they don't know that they need it. That story of give them what they want and deliver what they need because they don't know that they need it. Right. I love that. Okay, so when we're talking about these courses, how difficult is it to create and have it? And I mean, are we talking a year and lots of technology and cameras and scripts and all that kind of stuff?
Lights, camera, action. Right. So it depends on the level of tech that you have. Like, how well do you do in technology? But let's just say when we work with our clients, it takes about 4 months to create an e-learning course. That's on average, mostly because our clients are working with their clients, so they don't have time. But for people, if they wanted to do it themselves, the best advice I can give them is organize it, just like you would do any other business plan. Understand why you're doing it. Understand your target market. Make sure you're clear on your avatar, down to the colors they like, where they like spending time, because when you go into production, it's going to be very important. And then don't assume because you've done these presentations that you can convert your direct presentation into the course. You have to spend time breaking your script up. And that's easy to do, right? You can do it live, or you can do it on a Zoom to yourself. Then you download it, you go to rev.com. I get no kickback from rev.com, but a transcription opportunity. And then you rewrite that script, keeping your content short. So 7 to 15 minutes is the longest each one of those lessons need to be done. Break it up.
That's a good point.
Those lessons, right? And then when you get to the production, so people get overwhelmed with, I got to be on video. I don't know what to do. So let
me lose 10 pounds first. Let me fix my hair.
Right.
Listen, let's just get out all that stuff on top of it.
I got to look good. My lighting. Look, I'm in the same studio every time and my lighting's different because I'm sitting at one angle or another. But a little bit of that is, that's fun. That's kind of my personality. And we teach people how to use their phone to do their little snippets, but you could do just a voiceover if you feel comfortable, because then you can read your script. And then you can get online and do, all the technology allows you to produce it. And then you find your learning management system and upload it. So what happens is people become very paralyzed because they don't know where to start. And that's what we find when people call us, like, I don't know where to start. It's okay.
Yeah.
We've got a method. You can just go step by step.
Love that. And I think that's the most important part is people get paralyzed because they're like, oh my gosh, I've got this big elephant to eat and I don't know where to start and how to do it. I know I need to do it, or I should do it, but knowing where to start. So having that kind of piece. And you say it is really simple of just breaking down something that you already do on a regular basis,
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And here's it's funny because here's where the three people start. What do I name it? What do I charge for it? And what learning management system do I put it on? Okay.
That's
and I'm
the end, right?
Those are the end. Yes, that's the end. Don't do those, because that's where you start getting paralyzed. How do you know what to name it if you don't even know what the actual end content's going to be? How do you know how to price it when you don't know how long it's going to be? I mean, maybe it's 15 minutes or maybe it's 2 hours. And how do you select your learning management system when you don't know how many videos you're going to do, how many downloads, what are all the bells and whistles you need? Are you automating your whole business or just one course? So put those up so it lifts that anxiety from you and just start writing.
Okay, so here's something that's chirping in the back of my mind here. Yep. What if it's something brand new that I want to bring out to the world? Maybe I haven't tried it before. Do you recommend testing that on guinea pigs before I go to and do all the technology of the course and everything?
100%. Absolutely. Because when you create your course, it's an investment. And you also want it to have some of those kinks out. We do it. I'll do a presentation and then I'll transcribe it. And I'm like, oh, I could have done this and this and this. And each one of my presentations get better. So don't invest in doing any kind of digital e-learning course until you have something. It doesn't have to be perfect though, but try it on a few people. And, we all have 10 people in our circle that we can call up and say, I'm doing the Zoom call. I'm recording it because I'm testing it.
Right.
But you need those 10 people to be honest with you. Yeah. And I want your feedback. And by the way, I want some honest feedback. So maybe your best friend isn't the perfect person to have in there, or your family members. Of course, some people have family members that'll be brutally honest, but get those people that will enjoy the content, but also know what it'll take to take it to market.
Love it. Okay. That seems like a big task and something that could be on there. But I think for the everyday folks that are listening that maybe don't have a course going right now or or a program going right now, and they just want to add a little bit of digital action to their current business structure, I really like the idea of the onboarding process in that initial digital form. Hey, go download or pull up the iPad and walk through this. Here's some learning lessons. Here's what you're going to expect or experience by going through my program or something along those lines. I think that that's something that a dentist can use, a chiropractor can use. You know, when there's the fear of unknown, that could soften the impact of sort, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, if you even want to break it down further, a lot of people do this for their vendors that come into their organization. And maybe it's just you sit behind your Zoom again, you record yourself and just say, hey, I'm Dr. T. I just wanted to share with you about our organization, about the culture of our organization. I kind of have this expectation of all of our vendors. We want you to be, when you come in, say hello to the blah, blah, blah. I mean, and just explain how you have an expectation for them. Drop that into an email for them so they can listen to who you are and what you are, because our vendors are important to us. Mm-hmm. People who come into our office are important. So, I mean, that's even easier to do. And then after you do that, maybe step it up. And now you do it for the new clients that you have coming in.
I like that. And it's so important because, as you mentioned, everybody wants to learn off of their phone, right?
Yes.
They want the convenience and understanding that they can find you, they can locate you. Maybe they get to try it out, a little bit of appetizer here of what it would be like to work with you. And having that in that online format that someone can do with the comfort of their own home, I think is that baby step to getting them to, as you said in the original, to know, like, and trust you so that they're willing to put that money down. And those could be free items. And then you can work into the low paid items and then into the bigger paid items, or into working one-on-one with you or VIP or however, you set up your programs or your practice.
That's right. And again, people want to hear the story, right? I mean, you started off, how did I get into this business? People want to hear from you. What is your story? How did you do this? Just imagine that little bit of information. People will go, oh my gosh, and then they'll buy into you. And, we need people to be bought into what we do, because there's also that referral, right? So it's that, we've got to get people, we've got to get champions in our business. And I think the story through video is just a great way to start.
I like it. And the buy-in is so very important because there's competition out there, right? I mean, you're not the only one doing what you do. Right. So there's, I'm sure, at least a large number of people doing what you do. So how do you separate yourself?
That's right.
From that competition and get that original buy-in? And I think that through video and having that little introduction or that piece or that little course where they get a chance to experience you is a perfect way to welcome people in when they have choices.
Definitely. And sharing your framework, and if you have a 7-step framework, you only need to share, maybe 3 parts of your framework or 1 part of your framework, because you're right. The competition is so vast, but your personality and your framework is probably, that people are out there needing you, and they're going to select you based off, that framework works for my mental model. I get that. Yeah. Yeah. And now I've got to have more because she or he is explaining it in the way that I understand it. So that's how you transform people.
Frameworks are super important, and we all have them. We may not realize we have them. And step 1, you do this. Step 2, you do that. Step 3, you do that. And 4, it's very easy. And I think when you're talking about an overwhelming subject, whether it is, in the original example, doing an estate plan, I mean, that's very overwhelming and emotional and lots of decisions. And if you can lay that out in a pattern that has little bite-sized chunks to it, then the consumer goes, it's not so overwhelming. I can do that.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
It's the chunking. I mean, it's giving somebody, and remember, we all learn differently. Mm-hmm. And because we all learn differently, we all take in and process information. But for a lot of people, they like to have, something pinned up on their wall so they can refer to it. Or they're like, oh yeah, I'm in this stage. That's okay if I haven't got to that stage yet. It's all right, because it relieves the anxiety. And I think you and I are in the business of relieving people's anxiety by helping them through what we do.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So when we're talking about courses, we've talked about, onboarding. We've talked about, forward facing kind of, not really courses, but digital products that could be out there forward facing, welcoming people in, getting people to know you. We've talked about high-end courses and middle courses where they'll pay a little bit to kind of evolve in. Gosh, where do we start? How does, right? Because
right.
I know I've thrown the kitchen sink at people before and they're like, whoa, sister, that's too much information. Right. So we talked about bite-sized chunks. Where do we start?
Yeah, I think the first thing is, just simply draw kind of a linear line and understand the customer journey. Ooh. Where are your customers coming in, right? Where do they come in? How do you get your leads? Understand what do they find you from referrals, and be very clear on how each one of those come into your process, or I'll call it a funnel. Funnels are overused, but into your system. And then pick one of those and say, how can I service them better and transform them, provide them value while knowing I want to upsell them? And then once you understand that part of it, what's the second customer part of your journey? Where are you going? What do you want to do? And when you understand your customer journey, then you go, where can I figure out where to plug in some type of digital product? So maybe it's, you have a book, then you have, or maybe you have a free download, then you have your book, then you want to add a digital course. So now you know that digital course is played off of the other two and it's going to feed into the other. All right, now what topic do I want to cover? I have a 7-step framework. I take my first part of my framework and I'm going to create a 60-minute e-learning course. And then you break it down just like you did in high school, your outline, modules, lessons, and then that's how you start, so it doesn't become overwhelming. Yeah.
Wow. That is so easy to do. I can totally do that. And I know my listeners can totally do that. Yep. And when you break it down into that simple format of where does the customer come in and what's the next step, logical step that they would be taking, and how can you digitize that? Yep. Brilliant.
Right?
Brilliant. Yeah. Right? So, we all do. We all sit there and go, okay, I have to do social media posting. I have to serve my clients. I have to do bookkeeping. We're wearing all these hats, but we know, many of us know deep down inside that we have to be where the customer wants to buy.
Yes.
And that's Absolutely. Not always social media and so on, but it's you can't be someplace 24/7 when someone's scrolling through the internet in their jammies on a Sunday morning.
That's right.
But if you had a digital product, like we've been talking about here, that might catch your ideal customer when they're comfortable in thinking about their problem. And you don't have to be there, right?
That's right. That's right. And you don't have to be there. And, marketing people love it because when they're doing all your social media or the call to action, it's easier to do a call to action to something that's more accessible than it is to a larger product. So now they're
or worse, a phone call, right?
Or worse, the phone call.
Pick up the phone. I don't know you. I'm not comfortable yet. You're going to hard sell me. I'm not going to pick up the phone.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Absolutely. So it becomes a very nice sales technique, and it gives the marketing people something to really hold on to. I think that's important. And you're right. It's that, Sunday morning when you're kind of scrolling and you're like, oh, I have some time. I don't have to call them. I'm going to find out about these folks. It's got to be valuable.
Let me troll you a little bit.
Let me troll you, right?
Yeah. But that's it. Here we are. We're putting social posts together. We're putting our marketing out there. We're sending out stuff, emails, and all that kind of stuff. You want something that's not, and this is what I'm really liking about this. You want something that's not aggressive, right? But something that they can consume at their pace and their comfortable level without feeling icky about the hard sale that's coming their way, and then they can start to experience you. So I think that this is,
and I want to just say, everybody needs to be very clear that I'm not talking about webinars. Okay. Because people get e-learning courses and webinars very confused. And what you're talking about is very clear e-learning. It's something that's, we're providing value. They're downloading it. They're getting content. They're having some kind of shift in what they're doing or how they're doing it. A webinar
they're learning a complete component of whatever it is.
A complete,
they walk away satisfied.
Yes. Very satisfied. Like, oh my gosh, I got something. I can take my notes. I can do that. A webinar has kind of gone into being more of that heavy-handed sales. You sit there for 90 minutes and just put them on mute and come back for the last 10 minutes. And then they're going to sell me hard. Now, I'm not opposed to webinars if even in the webinar you provide people value. A webinar is meant to give them a product and to sell at the end. That's okay, but it's got to provide value, not be just a bunch of chit chat. So
100%. Yeah. I mean, whenever I think of this one person that always gave you just enough nuggets to attract you and then said, oh, you got to buy my course to get the rest of it, Right. And I always felt that to be, it's like she didn't close the gap. She didn't close the circle when she was teaching. So I always felt like, well, wait a minute. If you're not going to close the circle here, are you going to close the circle if I pay you money? So I love the idea of closing that circle and giving them something of value, juicy, nugget that they can do. But like any of these things, there's always what's the next opportunity. Absolutely. And you always want to have a call to action and invite them to the next step at the end of your training. So it's not going to be that hard stack and close that you see on the webinars, but there's still going to be a next opportunity, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had run during the pandemic, we'd run some digital courses and we taught them. I mean, people learned. I mean, you got it, you understood how to write a script, but there's always, even though you give them content, there's always going to be the right client for you that needs your help. Because no matter how much we teach it, sometimes it just, you need somebody to look over it or just do the production part. So those are the right clients. See, when you're doing this, you have to figure out what your right client is. And then you attract them by creating value and then listening to it and then go, okay, now I know who they are. Now I can go and have them do the work for me.
Like it.
Yeah.
Whew. Dr. T, this has been fantastic. There's been so many little bombs dropped in ways that you can use digital education for attracting your customer. And the fact that the customer is craving this information on their own time, this is the platform to do it. And then it brings them into you. So good stuff. All right. So you've given us so much. Where can listeners find out more about you?
Absolutely. I just go to Facebook, look me up, Theresa Ashby. And, if it's okay with you, I would like to just say, if they go on Facebook, DM me and say, I saw you on the podcast and, biz growth, it was so great. I would love to connect with you. And for your audience, I will send them a link to schedule a 15-minute strategy call with me, a non-sales zone, just to see if they're in the right stage of their business to create some kind of digital product.
Love it. Love it. Always giving, always generous with your time and especially your knowledge and ideas here. This has been super. Wow. I know I've got a couple of ideas that are streaming through my head and I've already got digital products.
I know you do.
There, so, right. So I'm already thinking of more things I can stack in there. So that's
Beautiful.
perfect. Yeah. All right, listeners, I hope you found a couple of ideas to put into your business that will help you be more profitable. And I know that I've been preaching for a couple of years now that it's important that you meet your clients where they want to be, where they are already. And I think this digital product, having that kind of focus, is exactly where every business needs to be. Even if you're a plumber, you need to have some sort of digital product. How do I turn off the damn water when the sink's blowing, right? I mean, that could be a digital product, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Get off my soapbox. So don't forget, now more than ever, it's important to focus on growing your business. Don't forget to register for my new masterclass. This is tons of value in it. 15 minutes training specifically designed to help you grow your business 2, 3, or even 10 times the revenue and the value of your firm. So you are in a great position to sell it someday in the future on your terms. Some of the benefits that come with this kind of business are more profit, more free time, and an easier to run business. So go register for free at 10xyourfirm.com. You don't want to miss this class. And Dr. T and I would love to hear your ideas or questions. Hit us up, comment on today's show, share with us what course or e-learning or something that you've done digitally that has attracted the clients, or even if you haven't, what that idea is, and we'll bounce back and let you know what we think on it, and you'll get the expertise of Dr. T to answer that. And while we're at it, subscribe. Don't forget, you want to make sure that you get notifications on next week's show, so ring that bell. And you can always catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. And we're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thanks so much, Dr. T.